We are here to speak about what, in essence, yesterday represents, where it comes from, and why it's important. I think, ladies and gentlemen, what I'll do is take us through the statement. I'll then allow the Chief Whip to make any other comments that he'd like to make. And then soon after that, we'll proceed to take questions. It's without fail and without question the fact that this has been long coming. And when a couple of months ago we said that we believed that Speaker Baleka Mbete does not enjoy the confidence of this House and the confidence of South Africans, people felt at that point that we were responding to the situation at hand, but in fact it highlights the fact that the events from yesterday has brought us to that same reaffirmation. And so it's important for everybody here to note that the DA no longer recognize Speaker Mbete as the Speaker of the National Assembly. We simply can't accept that. The events in Parliament yesterday represent, in fact, a turning point for our democracy and has fundamentally changed the DA's approach to Parliament. Baleka Mbete lost control of the House and destroyed her credibility as Speaker yesterday. Accordingly, we will cease to recognize her authority as Speaker. Every time she presides over the House, the DA will only send its Chief Whip, its Deputy Chief Whip, and those members participating in the debate itself. President Zuma and Baleka Mbete have taken us on the verge of a constitutional crisis. Parliament cannot effectively scrutinize the actions of the executive. It was very clear that if you can't begin to deal even with a matter such as Nkandla, how do you then hope to deal with any other business? They've consistently manipulated and undermined the rules of the House to protect President Zuma and his constitutional obligation to account to the people of this country. Ladies and gentlemen, the facts in our view are as follows. Is that President Zuma refuses to come to Parliament to answer questions despite Rule 111(1)(a), which states that the President must answer questions in the House once per term, and that despite his constitutional obligation to do so under Section 55. Baleka Mbete has consistently favored the ANC over opposition MPs and is clearly executing Luthuli House's agenda. We've said from the start that her position as chairperson of the ANC NEC is a clear conflict of interest. She abused her position as the chair yesterday by manipulating the purpose of Rule 2 to shut down the opposition and shield the ANC. The Speaker has sanctioned the use of riot police inside Parliament to assault opposition MPs. And I have members of my own caucus who yesterday had to end up with doctors, and in fact it simply cannot be the space that we hold so sacred, that debate must take place, and that now I feel I must request of members to come to Parliament completely prepared for battle. It simply cannot be allowed. Therefore, it must be remembered that the South African Police Service are a branch of the state. Their presence in Parliament is therefore a breach of the separation of powers and the sanctity of the National Assembly. Yesterday it was our own members. On another day it could be somebody else. And in truth, it's an abuse of executive power when executives are entitled to order the police to come in. ANC MPs have become increasingly aggressive. Minister Lindiwe Zulu was caught on video yesterday physically attacking an opposition MP. She also untruthfully denied this in the House. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a constitutional duty to scrutinize and oversee executive action. But we can only do that in the context of a functional and a constructive Parliament. I've also, along with this, written to the leader of government business, Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa, demanding that he must take steps in order to restore order in the House. Specifically, we've also requested a few things of the leader of government business. One is, we need an urgent meeting to be held between the Deputy President, myself, the Chief Whip of the official opposition, to discuss the abuse of Parliament by, in fact, the ANC. that in fact at our next sitting, that he supports a passing of a motion of no confidence in the Speaker of Parliament, and that in fact Parliament elects a new Speaker. It's that in his next sitting he supports the election of a member of the opposition as one of the presiding officers, which precedence has been shown in other parliaments, and that the fifth one has departed away from that. That the use of riot police in the chamber be outlawed, that he undertakes to ensure that the riot police never again be allowed to enter the chamber. We call for an IPID inquiry into the use of riot police in Parliament on the 21st of August and also on the 13th of November. We believe that the ANC lost the debate yesterday, and because of that, they responded with violence yesterday. Many observers are left wondering what in fact will happen should the ANC begin to lose elections. The ANC leadership in Parliament failed in its duty to ensure that the institution of Parliament is respected by the executives and members alike. It's now in fact incumbent on the leader of government business to work with us to restore the credibility of Parliament. Our duty, ladies and gentlemen, I speak for all the MPs that are in this room, and certainly I speak for our caucus. We came to Parliament for the sole duty of defending the constitution of this country. We can't sit by and allow the ANC to simply undermine that and use force to be able to execute that mandate. It is our duty, and therefore that's why we're putting very strong and drastic steps here today. We don't take them lightly. We wanted to act in a way that in fact makes sure that Parliament works. And it's for that reason that we've made the recommendations that we've put in this report.